Alright, hey everyone, so today we are going to enter the last chapter of your Form 4 syllabus for biology, which is chapter 15. Okay, that learns about the sexual reproduction, development and growth in humans and animals. So we are going to focus on three things: reproduction, then the development, and also the growth. Okay, we are looking for both female and also male. Then we are also looking for some animals. Okay, so first of all, let us look at the reproductive system of humans. So whenever we talk about reproductive system, we need to know the function and also the component. For example, which are the organs that are under this reproductive system. Okay, first of all, what is the function, okay, or what is the necessity of the male and also female reproductive system? Okay, so here the continuity of a species, okay, is dependent on the increase in population. So first of all, want to increase the population. Why? Is to ensure the continuity of a species. We don't want the species to go extinct. Now let's say if human stops reproduction, okay, if human stops doing reproduction, there is no newborn babies. So means that human later is going to be extinct because there is no continuity. No one is going to continue the generation, correct? So first of all, continuity of species by increase in the population. Now, sexual reproduction involves the production of male and female gamete. This one you should know. For male, we call as sperm. For female, we always call egg. But actually, this one is not that scientific. What we call them as ovum. Okay, use this word, ovum. So by individual which have reached sexual maturity. Okay, sexual maturity means they are able to produce male or female gametes. Now the process is completed with the fertilization of both gametes to create new life. So what is fertilization? Later we're going to look into the details. Basically it means you have the sperm here and you have this ovum. So later when they get close to each other, they are going to form a baby. Okay, baby lah. But we don't call them as baby. Okay, we have a name for that. Okay, but we are going to look into details later. I don't want to confuse you first, so I use the simple word. This is the sperm, this one is the ovum. When they come together, the process of them combining together is known as fertilization. Then they will form the baby. Okay, but we don't call as baby. Later we are going to learn what is the exact word to use. Okay, so this is female reproductive system. Okay, we're going to see how is it differ, okay, or how is it different from the male reproductive system. Now, first of all, where are you going to start to learn? Okay, it seems that there is a lot of parts or bahagian yang kamu kena belajar, but which one is the one that you should start? We start with the ovary, the most easiest one. Okay, the ovary is also the is one of the organ or the gland that secretes the hormone that you study in chapter 13. If you still remember, if you don't remember, go and revise. So what is the use of ovary? Now, it's a reproductive organs that produce ovum. Okay, so one, produce ovum. Then also it produces the sex hormone for female, which are estrogen and also progesterone. So here I use the produce hormone, the sex hormone, which are the two. Oh, sorry, you cannot see. Okay, this is very important. All right. Now, as I said, this ovum is the egg that we are more familiar with. Correct? We always call them egg, but actually it's ovum. So use the word ovum. Now, after this egg has been produced here, after it has matured, it will go this side, correct? So it's going to travel here. Understand? So here, what is the pipe or what is the tube that enables the ovum to transfer or travel? That is known as the fallopian tube. So this fallopian tube is a thin and also muscular tube. This is just the characteristic lah. The inner wall is lined with cilia. So if you remember what is cilia, cilia is like this, right? The little hair, all of this thing is known as cilia. Okay? The action of cilium, which is just the plural or the singular of cilia, combined with the peristalsis. Still remember what is peristalsis? You study in the digestive system, which is your digestive tract. It will contract and relax, correct? It will contract and then relax. This is peristalsis, okay? Of the fallopian tube. So two things that helps in the movement of the ovum, okay, which is the cilia and also the peristalsis. Understand? Okay, it helps in developing and in delivering the secondary oocyte or embryo to the uterus. Okay, so here you will study what is secondary oocyte and also embryo. Basically, secondary oocyte is another name for the ovum, but which is not that mature yet. Okay, so we're going to look into detail. You don't confuse first. Trying to remember, as long as you know that it's highly related to the delivering of ovum, but you need to use the correct terms. Okay, later after you have studied the terms here, you're going to enter back again, okay, to read again so that you know what does it mean. Okay, now after it has delivered to the fallopian tube, so it's going to keep on being delivered until into this part. So what is the name of this part? This part is named as uterus. This whole part is known as uterus. And you can see this is the muscle, correct? It's very thick. So what is the name of the muscle? It's not labeled, but it's mentioned here. The uterus is the organ with thick muscular wall. This is the thick muscular wall. So what is the name of this thick muscular wall? It's named endometrium. So you can actually label by yourself. This is the endometrium. Okay, so what is the characteristic of endometrium? Okay, it's a very thick muscular wall, first of that. Then second, the inner wall is lined with the endometrium tissue, which is the endometrium, this wall. They are rich in blood vessel and they secrete mucus. So why it should be thick and rich in blood vessel? Supplies the embryo with nutrient and oxygen. I remember in chapter 10 I teach you, like baby in the mother's womb, they cannot breathe, correct? The tissues, the oxygen needs to be delivered from the mothers to the baby. Baby through blood. So it must be rich with blood vessel so that the mothers can deliver oxygen to the baby. So that is the reason why the endometrium is full of blood vessels. Alright, it's not only for oxygen but also for nutrients. Okay, now we have looked at the pathway of the ovum. Now we're going to look at the outer part. Okay, outer part. So this is the part like towards the outside. Okay, the outer parts. So first of all, we have this part. Okay, which we call as vagina. Okay, so vagina is the canal where sperms enter. Also serve as a passage for birth and menstruation. So this is where the sperm can enter, and also this serves as the passage for birth. Means that after your baby have grown mature enough, it's going to out from here as well. Now last is cervix. Cervix is like the opening and the closing here. Understand? It's like the gate, or yeah, you can actually bayangkan dia sebagai satu gate. So this gate is a narrow opening here to the uterus, which secrete mucus to help sperm swims up to the fallopian tubes. Understand? So after sperm enters, it needs to pass through this cervix, which is a narrow opening, and then it helps to secrete mucus, which helps sperm to swim against the fallopian tube. Boleh? So understand this first, or else later when you study further, you'll get blur, okay, of how it's going to travel and how it's going to happen. Now this is very obvious. This is mouth. Okay, this is the one that we have studied, correct? The kidney, but we don't want to see anymore. Okay, this is the also the one that you have studied, right? Supposedly it should be the bladder. So the one that we not labeled here, we don't look at it. Okay, although you have studied, but it's shown here because these few organs, they are closely located to each other. Okay, now where to start? We start with the organs, okay, that produce the hormones or also the gametes first. Okay, the gamete is just the, for male gamete, sperm, for female gamete, ovum. So testis, it located within the scrotum. So scrotum is the sac-like structure that holds and protect the testis. So this one, it's like a skin, it's like a sack. You know, a plastic, no, it's not a plastic bag, but you can bayangkan, okay, you can try to imagine it as a bag, okay, that hold the testis to protect it and to also maintain the temperature. Understand? Because our body will function the best at certain temperature. So this scrotum also acts as maintaining the temperature. So here we have testes located within the scrotum. The testis is inside the bag. Okay, so that's why it's inside the scrotum. Understand? It produces sperm like the just now ovary. It produces ovum and then hormone. Same goes to your testis. It produces sperm for the male and also the male sex hormone. In this case, we only study one, the testosterone. So you have studied scrotum, you have studied testes. Now we are going to look at which one? The sperm duct. Okay, just now the ovary, after the ovary has produced the egg, it's going to your, how we call this? The fallopian tube. Correct? The ovum is going to transfer like this. Same goes to this. After you have your sperm, is going outwards, so that later it can be ejaculated out from the male's body. So this duct or this tube we call as sperm duct. Easy to remember, right? It's just sperm and the duct for it. So it transported through the sperm duct. Okay, or vas deferens, another name, but you just use the word sperm duct is enough. Okay, now along the way, do you realize that after it has reached the sperm duct, it will actually pass through this prostate gland, and also another one is this semivesicle. Did you realize that? You see, after the body has produced the sperm, once it reaches here, it will first pass through this semivesicle, then it will pass through this prostate gland, then baru dia akan turun. Faham? So dia akan melalui jalan tersebut. Okay, so apakah kebaikan untuk melaluikan seminal vesicle and also prostate gland? So both of them, one of them semivesicle. Let's look at the first one. Seminal vesicle. It's not semical. I just salah sebut. Seminal vesicle. It will secrete fluid filled with nutrients for the sperm, while prostate gland fluids that helps with the movement. So if you know that sperm is actually they are enclosing inside a fluid. Sorry, my voice might not sound very good because I'm actually sick now. So that's why you hear my voice. It might be different from time to time, and also my nose got severely blocked. So it's quite hard for me to record a very proper video. Okay, go back to here. So this is the sperm. It's actually covered or enveloped. It's more to like cover inside a fluid. So what is the fluid? One is from the seminal vesicle. This one provide nutrients. Okay, the fluid. If prostate gland, this one, the also fluid but for movement. Understand? Now last, we look at penis and also urethra. Now urethra is the one that you have studied, correct? In chapter 13, you study about the excretory system, the kidney. So you study about the urethra, the ureter, the gallbladder. Now, urethra is also the tube for the discharge of sperm and urine from the body. So actually they are using the same place, which is urethra. Then last, we have penis. Is a sexual organ that is rich in soft tissue and blood vessel. Release sperm into a vagina during copulations. So, okay, understand? So, make sense now? Okay, so subtopic 1 ends here. Okay, so let's continue with subtopic 15.2, the gametogenesis in humans. Okay, so now when you look at the word of gametogenesis, you can try to relate and figure out the meanings. So first of all, you see the word genesis. It actually looks quite similar macam generate, right? So you can actually relate like genesis. Wherever you see this genesis, it means the creation of something. Creation of something or production of something. Understand? Macam generate lah, okay? And gameto here refers to the gamete. Okay, still remember what is gamete? So gamete is the reproductive cells. Okay, so for gamete, for male, it will be sperm. For female, it will be ovum. So you need to always remember this, yeah? So what is the necessity of gametogenesis? Why do we need to produce the gametes? Okay, so here let's look together. The production process of reproductive cells, which is the gamete, like I mentioned, is called the gametogenesis. So this one I have explained. And the process takes place in gonads. So what are gonads? Gonads is the organs that produce the gametes. So here, for male is testis. For female is ovary. Okay, this one we have studied in 15.1. Go and revise if you have forgotten. And also, gametogenesis produce gametes that are haploid. So this one you go and revise mitosis and meiosis, that chapter. Okay, because I'm not going to explain here or else it's going to take a long time. Okay, so make sure you understand first what is haploid, then you proceed with this, or else you will just go confused and you do not get the meaning. Okay, now when fertilization takes place, okay, means nucleus of the sperm will fuse with the nucleus of the ovum in fallopian tube. This one also in 15.1. Go and look back the diagram. Where is fallopian tube? That is the place of fertilization. Okay, to form a diploid zygote. Okay, so I will use diagram to explain this statement. Now you know, for normal human, it is 2N. But now you have your sperm. Your sperm is N, and the ovum is also haploid. Okay, 1N we call it as haploid. So what will happen is that they will fuse together, and this process is known as fertilization. Their nucleus fuse together, and they will produce a thing that is diploid. Diploid. So the name is zygote. So this zygote is later going to develop into the embryo. This one we will study later. No worries. Embryo, then going to be fetus. Then that is the one that the babies that will be given birth. Okay, this one we'll study later. No worries. But as long as you know, haploid fuse with or fertilize with haploid, they become diploid. Understand? So that this baby is a normal human. If the sperm produce is 2N and ovum is also 2N, what will happen? When they fuse together, you get an abnormal baby which have 4N. Understand? So this one is no. It will either have health condition or it will die. Okay? So here, first we look at the male's gametogenesis first. So spermatogenesis, like I told you, genesis means production or creation. Spermato here refers to sperm. Okay, so do not need to be scared by this diagram. This is just the example, but what you need to remember is the main one here. Okay, this is the one that involved. So don't need to really trouble yourself with this diagram. This one is just to show you in details. So spermatogenesis is a process of sperm production that takes place in seminiferous tubule. So what is just now we said, right? Okay, you have sperm is produced in testes of male. Then what is this seminiferous tubule? It's a part of testis. This is the one. Now you have okay, let's say this is the scrotum, right? And this is the testis. So if you cut your testis into half, into half like this, means you cut it longitudinally and you will see a picture like this. Okay, so what does it mean by here is, you can see, okay, we start from this one, seminiferous tubule, because just now they mentioned already, right? This seminiferous tubule is the one that produces sperms. So how does it produce a sperm? Now, each seminiferous tubule consists of primordial germ cell, and no choice, you need to remember the name and the spelling of these cells. Is the primordial germ cell, the very first cells. It's like the ancestor of the sperm. Then this primordial germ cell is going to undergo cell division. So that's why I asked you to revise mitosis and meiosis to produce sperm. And Sertoli cells, okay, inside here there is a lot of Sertoli cells, but these Sertoli cells is not the one that in becoming sperm. It's like the cells that provide nutrients. Okay, so take notes on the Sertoli cell only provide nutrient. It's not going to become sperm. Okay, because when the cell is growing into sperm, you need to have nutrients, right? Just like human, if you want to grow into adult, you need to have a lot of nutrients. Okay, so sperm is transported to from the seminiferous tubule into epididymis. So where is the epididymis? Okay, let's say you have sperm here already. So where is going to travel? It's going to travel here. Okay, and then travel here, keep going down. So this part is the epididymis. Understand? So now the red color one is the seminiferous tubule, and the blue one is the epididymis. And then flows out through the sperm duct. So this one, the biggest pipe or the biggest tube here is the sperm duct, which carry the sperm, the mature sperm, out of the testis. Okay. Okay, now spermatogenesis is stimulated by a few hormones, mainly FSH and also testosterone, follicle stimulating hormone and testosterone. And the process is also aided by luteinizing hormone by pituitary gland. So this one you still need to go and do revision. If you lazy, don't do revision, later you're going to confuse. Okay? Make sure whenever I said revise, you go and look back. Don't say after I read this chapter, baru you go and do revision. Later you confuse. Later you feel, like this man. So don't. Okay, once I told you to do revision, do the revision first, then proceed. Then you will not go. You will not get confused. So what does it mean by here? Now, this FSH and testosterone. Okay, for example, if they are high in amount, the spermatogenesis also increase. Okay, so what hormone determine the amount of FSH and also testosterone? It will be the luteinizing hormone. Okay, I hope you see this color. Luteinizing hormone we call as LH. If LH high, the FSH also high, the testosterone also high, then the rate of spermatogenesis also become high. Understand? This is the important one. So just now I already told you, this is the primordial germ cell. Dekat sini, suddenly you see a Malay words. Maybe they misput this word. Okay, supposedly it will be a primordial germ cell. Okay, so now this is primordial germ cell. I told you it's like the ancestor. So everything will start with ancestor. Now at this point, it will not directly become N. It is actually the 2N. Okay. Then after that, it will divide mitosis. Okay, mitotically mean here it is mitosis. I want you to label later. I'm going to draw with you together. Okay, so mitosis to form a lot of spermatogonium. So this spermatogonium is also 2N. Now, it will go development to produce a primary spermatocyte. You don't need to remember the shape. You just need to know what is that. Okay, yeah. Primary spermatocyte. So development, does it go meiosis? If no meiosis, no change in ploidy number. Ploidy number is like 2N and this is ploidy number. So no change because development only man. So this is also 2N. Now, one way to remember the process, primary means I always write like this, correct? Primary spermatocyte. We always write like this. Primary spermatocyte. I mean primary we will write like 1 degree. So you see the 1 here means it's going to undergo meiosis 1. Understand? You see primary, the word primary is 1 degree, right? So it's going to undergo meiosis 1. This is how I'm going to remember lah. Now whenever you see it has meiosis, so means that as long as you see the very first meiosis, it will turn, the ploidy number will reduce into half. Means for diploid 2n, it becomes n. Understand? And then here, it will be divided into 2 secondary spermatocytes. Remember, it's 2. Okay? If you don't know what is 2, means you seriously need to go and revise. Okay, mitosis and meiosis. Why it becomes from 1 becomes 2. Okay, then secondary. The secondary usually we write like 2 degree. So 2, it undergoes meiosis 2. Understand? But here, it will not from n become 1 over 2n. Okay, this n will remain as n. Okay, remain as haploid. If you ask why, you truly need to go and revise meiosis and mitosis. Okay, so this is all about the meiosis that you have learned before. I'm not going to explain why, but I'm going to tell you the process. So you need to remember the process and also the name for each step. Okay, no choice. You need to remember, like the primordial germ cell, then go the spermatogonium, then go your primary spermatocyte, this secondary spermatocyte. Then after meiosis 2, it will form spore, correct? This is what we call as spermatic. But spermatic is not the mature cells. It needs to undergo differentiation so that you will see the sperm. It will, after it undergoes differentiation and development, the maturations, then you baru akan nampak the sperm that we always know. Okay, which is it looks like this shape. Okay, it has a head, and this is the mid piece. Then we have the tail. Okay, and this one is the one that we know, right? So it needs to undergo differentiation first. But another name for sperm, sometimes you will see they call as spermatozoa. If you see the word spermatozoa, is also referring to the sperm. Okay, so let's draw together. I want you to draw. Okay, follow me. Don't only watch the video. You won't study one. I'm sure after you listen to 5 minutes, once you don't get some point, you will just go lost. So take out a piece of paper and draw out, and draw with me. Okay. So right, this is spermatogenesis. Happen at where? Testis. Testis punya mana? Masih ingat? Seminiferous tubule. Okay, so what is the very first cell that I told you is the ancestor of your sperm, of man's sperm lah. Okay, perempuan tak ada. Actually perempuan punya pun sama actually. The ancestor name is the same, which is the primordial germ cell. Okay, so right, what is the ploidy number? 2n ke, n ke, 3n ke, 4n? It will follow the human diploid number 2n. I'm sorry, I just broke my voice. Now, what will happen next? It undergoes what process? Okay, from one kind of cell become another kind of cell, you need to have some process. So, still remember what is the process? It's the mitosis. So, it's going to produce what? Is going to produce spermatogonium. Also, what is the ploidy number? Now, if it is mitosis, does it change the ploidy number? Does it reduce the ploidy number? No. Okay, it remains the ploidy number. So here, it will be 2n. After spermatogonium, what happened? I'm waiting for your answer, okay? Although this is video, okay? You try to think, What is that? It's development. Okay, I hope you answer, I hope you have answer to my question while I'm waiting for you like this, okay? I try to make it like an interactive video, although I do not know your answers. Okay, after it undergoes development, it becomes what? It becomes primary spermatocyte. Okay, so undergoes development. So does it change the ploidy number? No. So it will still be a 2n. Then after that, after primary, you will go secondary. This is like logically, right? After you have primary, sure you will have the secondary. Okay, now I told you already just now. Whenever you see the word primary, it's like this primary word, it means like the first degree, correct? So if you see primary means 1, then it will undergo meiosis 1. If you see the word secondary, it means it's going to undergo meiosis 2. Into what? Into, what is the name? If you forget, cepat-cepat go and refill. So it will be the spermatic. Okay, maybe the time I leave to you is too short, but then this is video, I'm not going to drag for too long. Okay, so let me make smaller so that I have enough space to write. Okay, so spermatic. Okay, so now spermatic, what is the ploidy number? Ploidy number. Okay, starting from the secondary spermatocyte. So I told you already, whenever you have meiosis, when you see the very first meiosis, the ploidy number will be reduced into half. So from 2n, it becomes n. Spermatic, of course, it already reduced into half, so it will just follow the haploid number. Okay. Then last, spermatic is not the mature one, so it will undergo differentiation. So it will form the, what is the name? Sperm or spermatozoa. So this is also n. Okay, so okay, you try. Now you copy down as not. Sorry. Okay, so this thing, oh sorry. Okay, so this thing now you copy down as not, but I want you to try later without referring to this. You need to able to list out all of this step by step, and then list out 3 things: the name, the ploidy number is either haploid or diploid. Then I want the third one is the process name. Okay? Okay, so let's continue with the spermatogenesis in female, the oogenesis. So the oo comes from ovum. Now it's the process of secondary oocyte. So I told you already, secondary oocyte, don't be surprised to see this word, because ovum is not the one that released out from ovary. When it is released out from the ovary, the reproductive cell or the gamete is actually, the name is secondary oocyte. So it's quite different from spermatogenesis. There is similarities, there is differences. So the process takes place in ovary, in female's gonad. Unlike spermatogenesis, it begins in female's ovary before they are born. So for male, only when they reach puberty, they start to produce the sperm. Means the spermatogenesis baru take place. But for female, before they are born, maksudnya inside the mother's womb, they already have oogenesis. So this is the process we're going to see one by one. But I'm just generally go through, because later there is explain in details. Okay, so I'm just generally go through first, then we're going to see one by one. The ancestor name is the same, primordial germ cell. Still the same thing, undergo mitosis, so produce a lot of oogonule. So do you realize the same name? Just now is primordial germ cell into spermatogonule. So you see the word gonule, here also gonule. So this is the similarity lah. Okay, not similarity, but the place they are similar. Also the same development, and then after that grows into primary oocyte. Just now is primary spermatocyte. But special case about this how we call this, the oocyte, is that this oogonule or the oocyte, it will let's say this is your egg cell, so it's going to be covered, or the word we use, encapsulated. It means it is covered with, you can see it, right? This a lot of dot here. So as time goes, it will grows in size, it will grows in layers. It become more and more layers. Okay, this is what we call as this is what we call as the follicle. So here, the growth is stimulated by FSH. This is the hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. And then primary oocyte then undergoes meiosis 1. I told you, right? You see the word primary, first degree. So you see the word 1, it is going to produce meiosis 1. But different from sperm is that the sperm will directly undergoes the whole meiosis 1, correct? It will just complete it. But for female, it will start at prophase 1. Still remember, for mitosis and meiosis, we have 4 stages. PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. So it will start at prophase 1. So until only after birth and also puberty, after puberty, it will complete meiosis 1. And for the following part, I'm going to explain in the next few slides because this part is too complicated. You need to really understand one by one. This is the one I mentioned. You see, first of all, it only has a 1-layer follicle. Then you see have 2 layers, 3 layers, then going multiple layers. Then this graph follicle is going to form certain specific size and shape of follicles. Then ovulation means it release from ovary, ready for fertilization. Okay, later we're going to see what is this in the next few slides. So this is the overall view. Okay, the overall view. So still remember, if you have the ovary, it looks like this, right? The fallopian tube. Okay, something like this. So if you cut, how to say, if this thing is going to cut like this, okay, you're going to cut down like this, you get a section like this. Okay, you will look something like this under microscopic. So it's not that once you cut you get this picture. Okay, this is microscopic, this is diagram, okay, to show you better. It's not that you cut you see like this, because yeah, this is like I say, the microscopic. So here, first of all, we start from the primary follicle. I think this is something. Okay, this one I double confirm with you. Okay, supposedly this is not primary oocyte anymore. What will happen is that we start with the primary follicle. Do you see the smallest thing? Okay, so it grows in size, and then you see the follicles also grows in layers, then becomes secondary follicle. After that, it will grows into Graphian follicle. So this is, I think it's not primary oocyte anymore. Supposedly it is. Later I double confirm this one. Okay, then Graphian follicle. Then after that, when you see it release, this is ovulation. Okay, this is ovulation, and after that, this is the copulation. After the eggs has been released from the ovary, then the follicles will be remain. So when the follicles is remain, it will form a the yellowish thing like this called corpus luteum. Understand? So if you want to read this diagram, it's going to from here to here to here to here. Okay. Okay. So now, first of all, let us look at this, the oogenesis. So oogenesis, same, we start with the primordial germ cell, undergo mitosis to form organelle. This one is the same as spermatogenesis. Develop into primary oocyte, encapsulated with one or more follicles. This is the follicle, the top cells, forming primary follicles. Now the growth of the follicles stimulated by FSH also mentioned just now. Primary oocyte then undergoes meiosis but stop at prophase 1. Okay, like the one I told you just now lah. Okay, this is the one that I haven't told you. At birth, maksudnya baru sahaja bagi perempuan tu dilahirkan, they already have millions of primary oocyte, different from males. For males, they only start to produce millions of sperm when they reach puberty. But this one, at birth, they already have millions of primary oocyte, but remain dormant. Maksudnya, inactive, not active. Then, the number of oocyte will decrease at puberty. So once it hits puberty, the number of oocyte will decrease. The primary oocyte will continue the meiosis 1. Like I just now said, after it has reached puberty, it starts to complete. Not all, but some will start to complete the meiosis 1 to form secondary oocyte and a first polar body. The first polar body the one that mentioned, this one, the polar body here. No use, huh? You see, all the polar bodies will die. No use. It will degenerate. But scientists are still finding the function of it. We cannot say all the things. We cannot say the things in our body no use. Maybe it's just that the scientists have not found it. Maybe. But there are some, how to say, like hypotheses lah. There is some talks saying that it has certain functions or what in online and so on. So if you are interested, you can go. But so far, it will degenerate. Okay. Now, where do we stop? Okay, here. First polar body. Secondary oocyte will be in meiosis 2 and halted at metaphase 2. Just now, meiosis 1 is stopped at prophase 1. Now, for meiosis 2, it will stop at halted means stop. This halted means stop. Or arrested. We use the word arrested more. Arrested or stop. At metaphase 2. Understand? So you need to know first polar body will complete meiosis 2 and form 2 second polar bodies. So this polar body, although said no function, but it's going to further divide. Do you see? Meiosis 2 into 2 polar bodies. Okay? Okay, now oogenesis. A layer of follicular cells will envelop the secondary oocyte and is called secondary follicle. So here this supposedly is like this it envelopes the secondary oocyte and is called secondary follicle. So now I don't think that you see, a mature Graafian follicle will release secondary oocyte. So here, this diagram is wrong. This one supposedly to be secondary oocyte. Understand? Okay, now, sorry, I didn't finish. Then I ask you, understand or not? A layer of follicular cells envelopes the secondary oocyte and is called secondary follicle. Then it will develop into Graafian follicle. So it's like, just now it's primary, secondary, then primary, secondary, correct? Just now for, how we call that? Sorry. Primary, secondary. Okay, for female is Graafian after that. How about for male? Still remember what is that? Secondary. After secondary, it goes spermatic. So this is the different one. Okay, the name totally different already. This is spermatic. This is Graafian follicle. The Graafian follicle is the mature one. It's ready to release the secondary oocyte. Like I told you, the one that released out is not ovum. Okay, it's not ovum. So that's why just now when you see the definition, it's not saying ovum, but secondary oocyte. Okay, so what will happen? This Graafian follicle approach the surface of the ovary, release the secondary oocyte into the fallopian tube, and this process is called ovulation. Understand? So here, you see this Graafian follicle is very big, so it approach the surface of, this is the surface, right, of ovary, and then it will release out the secondary oocyte. So this secondary oocyte is going into the fallopian tube. And then this follicle is not going out. It's going to remain inside the ovary and then form corpus luteum. We have function. It's not that the remaining leaf here then no function. No, this corpus luteum is very important. Okay, so this process is non-ovulation, ovulation. Remember what is ovulation? The release of ovum. Why I say it's important later, because you always come across this word later. Release of ovum from ovary. Okay, now secondary oocyte is the immature ovum. So we'll complete meiosis 2 once a sperm penetrates it. It means if there is fertilization. Meiosis 2 produce ovum and polar body. Fertilization takes place when the sperm nucleus fused with the ovum nucleus, produce a diploid zygote. Okay, so this is zygote. The rest of the polar body will die and disintegrate or degenerate by the ovary. So what does it mean by here? Now, when you only have sperm plus this secondary, okay, means that you have this secondary oocyte. It need to have sperm to reach it and penetrate it, then it complete meiosis 2. Now what will happen if there is no sperm? What will happen? Try to think. If there is sperm, then it can complete meiosis 2. If there is no sperm, no completion of meiosis 2. Understand? So it will remain as secondary oocyte. It won't become ovum. Understand? Okay, so it will just be a secondary oocyte. It's immature we call it immature ovum. Okay, then the fertilization I mentioned to you, the nucleus of oocyte fuse with the sperm. Now, I told you this is ovulation, means the release of secondary oocyte. Some books they will use ovum, but this, to be exact, to be accurate, is secondary oocyte will be released. So don't use ovum lah. Secondary oocyte. So it's going to release from the ovary through ovulation, the process. Now the follicle, the remaining follicle, you see from whitish color, it become yellowish. It will form corpus luteum. This corpus luteum later is going to degenerate. You are not going to leave a lot of not unwanted, but you're not going to leave too many things inside your body, right? So they will automatically degenerate the one that has been used or that has been long time in your body. So corpus luteum, this is the thing that we call corpus luteum continues to grow and secretes estrogen and progesterone. This is the function, very important, estrogen and progesterone. Still remember, ovary will produce estrogen and progesterone. Where does the estrogen and progesterone come from? From here lah, the corpus luteum. Important estrogen, progesterone. After ovulation, the remaining follicle forms corpus luteum. The corpus luteum and secondary oocyte degenerates and dies, and then is removed through menstruation. So later we're going to study menstruation. Menstruation is in daily life we said periods. The more scientific and more proper word is menstruation okay. So biology student use menstruation. Now what will happen? When will this happen? Secondary oocyte degenerate and dies is when there is no sperm. When there is no sperm. Okay, for secondary to die lah. Because I told you already, the secondary oocyte will only turns into ovum. They complete the meiosis 2 if there is sperm. Now what will happen if there is no sperm? When there is no sperm, means the secondary oocyte will be remaining lah. Then if there is no fertilization, later this oocyte is going to degenerate. So here comes the menstruation. Understand? Because for female, it's not the ovulation is almost like for each month there will be once, correct? It's impossible that every month there will be fertilization. Okay, there will be luar biasa sudah. I never heard about it. So what will happen is that they degenerate, and then it is going to be excreted out from the body lah. Because our body don't want the things that is either has been lived for too long in your body and so on. Okay, so we are going to study that further. Okay, so here we continue. This diagram is quite, for me, I don't prefer things like this lah. It's quite, you're trying to make it so complicated. This is a primary oocyte, like I mentioned, the small one. Then it grows in follicles. So from primary becomes secondary. Where is the secondary? Secondary. Then, but you see, they don't use the word Graphian, okay? Because I'm using other people's slides. So, okay, this diagram, no, we don't refer it. Okay, refer the one that in your textbook. This one. But in your textbook, if this one is primary oocyte, go and change. Supposedly to be secondary oocyte already. Okay, structure of sperm. So, like I told you just now, but that one I didn't show you properly. For sperm, if you put it, enlarge it, it will have a head, it will have a neck, it will have a middle piece, it will have a tail. Remember these four. Okay? Who knows the question? How you call that? the exam asks you this kind of question to label it. And then it has a nucleus here and acrosome. So this acrosome is, do you see something like you know, half moon here. Okay, it's at very beginning or at the very top. It's not top, it's like the front part of the nucleus. There will be acrosome. So what is the function of acrosome? It's going to release, let's see, okay, it's not mentioned here, but it's going to release lysozyme. So that, because it wants to penetrate the egg, correct? It wants to penetrate the egg. So it needs to release the lysozyme to digest, it's not to digest, it's to break down the egg's membrane so that it can go steam. Understand? Then you have mitochondria. Why do you need mitochondria? Because the sperm need to swim. Logic? Make sense? Mitochondria produce energy. Do you remember mitochondria, the powerhouse? Very first few chapter you study mitochondria. So head, mid piece and tail, three main parts. If the question asking what is the three main parts, head, mid piece and tail. Don't write the neck. Neck, no. The head contains a nucleus. Mid piece is mitochondria, generate energy for sperm to swim. Okay, tail wiggling to the fallopian tube for fertilization. Structure of Graafian follicle. Don't need to remember all these things. The too complicated. This is for higher level. But what you need to know is surrounded by a gel-like substance and follicular cell. Secondary oocyte and follicular cell will form the Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is the mature follicle, which is almost like ready for ovulation. So this, as usual, for this similarity and differences, very important. But I'm not going to go through one by one because it's if you understand the process, if you look at the structure, you should able to know. But you cannot really list out the most proper and accurate one by yourself, right? So you need to refer. Go and read yourself, okay? This one I want you to read. But very important, I put 3 stars, so that's why for sure you need to go and read and make sure you don't skip. Now you can pause the video, read first. If you don't understand, go and see back. Go and look back the parts that related, okay? Or you can ask your friends, or you can ask me. Okay, before this, let's do a bit of recap on spermatogenesis. So you see, from sperm, from one spermatogonium, the main thing okay? The main thing is going to produce 4 sperm. Sperm. So all of them are sperm. But do you know that actually inside the male's body there is millions of sperm produced maybe at one girl or at a certain type of period. But for oogenesis, the oogonium, later at last, what will it have? It will have a secondary oocyte. And then polar body. Ada 3. Okay? It will have 3 polar bodies, which later degenerate and die. So how many can be used from one oogonium? Is only 1 secondary oocyte. But from one spermatogonium, you can use 4. Understand? So I think that is the one that I need to mention so that you can understand clearly this part. Okay, then if you have any question you can ask. Okay, so this is the end for the subtopic 15.2. It's a very long, actually it's a very long subtopic.